I think one of the most fun parts about being a music producer is just messing around with sound, right? Which I fell in love with from sound design, and in particular, sampling, because when you pitch samples up and down, it completely changes the way that it comes across and the way that it makes you feel, which I find fascinating. Today I want to show you guys a technique that you can use to take like a relatively boring sound and turn it on its head into something spectacular and special. So let's start with just a quick basic melody here. Okay, nothing too crazy. And one thing I want to point out right away is that it doesn't have to be this basic. Like, this technique will work with anything, and the more complex, in fact, the material is, the source material, the more interesting results you'll get with it. So the first thing we're going to do is duplicate the track, mute the original, and we're going to take all of these notes in the duplicated track, and I'm going to press Shift up, which raises it up an octave. Then we're going to make it play twice as fast, okay? So the easiest way in Ableton to do this is just to hit this divide by 2 or cut in half, and you can see that it gets to be half as long, so it starts to sound like this. Now we're gonna commit this new melody to audio, and I'm just gonna freeze and flatten this. Now here's the crucial part. What we're going to do is change the warp mode from beats to be repitch. So just make sure that the pitch and timing of the clip is linked together. And now we're gonna head over to the left side here and double the original tempo like this so it returns to the way that it was. And now take a listen to the way this sounds, having committed this to audio first. And if we compare it to the original, you shave off all of the high end, and it creates this feeling that's kind of hard to describe, but it makes me feel a little bit, a little sad, but in a good way. Now from this point you have lots of options. Like, sometimes what I like to do is layer this underneath and you can play it at the same time. You could use this as one side and use the original as the other, so you could pan them wide and it would sound like this. This is a great thing to do when you want it to sound a little bit more dreamy and lo-fi, but also just take that like digital edge off of a lot of synth sounds that you get these days. It just has a way of bringing it to life. You can actually approach this technique a different way too, in the opposite way in fact, where you duplicate the track once again, and you take the notes from the duplicated track and you make them twice as long, or even let's say 4 times as long, and we'll go down 2 octaves. Adjust the MIDI clip to be the correct length, and then we'll freeze and flatten this. And I want you to take a listen to the way that it sounds when you return it to the original tempo. It's like a pluck sound now, right? It's kind of cool. I'm gonna drop some little sauce on you guys right now, but you don't actually have to use octaves all the time and make everything twice as fast or half as fast or whatever. What you can do is record a part over the top of whatever it is that you're doing at a different tempo. Let's say 1.5 times higher. So in this case, we might go to, what's 85 times 1.5? 127.5, okay? So if we change the tempo to 127 oh my goodness, 127.5. And we record like a little guitar part at this tempo. When we return down to the original tempo, it's going to also bring the pitch of the guitar down, okay? Now watch what happens when I change the warp mode on the guitar to be repitch, and then we return to our original tempo, which was 85. I think this is so cool. It's like you get control over time. And you can kind of squeeze some more life out of your guitar and get sounds that you normally wouldn't have had you not used this technique. And actually another great way to use this technique is if you feel like your beat as a whole is just kind of missing like that special sauce, that like X factor, try doing this to the whole song at once. It's actually pretty wild what happens. And while you're at it, you can even try pitching the song up and down with changes in tempo to get just a different perspective on what you're making, which might be the key factor in unlocking whatever it is that you're trying to do. So have you guys seen this technique before? Have you tried this on your own music? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, happy music making, and we'll see you in the next video.